Okay, yogis, let's get started in a reclined position. So coming all the way down to your mat with your knees up. Length behind your neck. We'll go ahead and rest our knees together, and you can spread your feet apart to the wide edges of your mat so that they can just fall inward for a moment. And go ahead and close your eyes and start to come into your space. Bring your attention to your breath. And we'll take 3 rounds of breath all together to become centered and present. So breathing in very deep into your belly, in through your nose. And opening your mouth and exhaling to expel all the air in your abdomen. 2 more like that. Big inhale through the nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Last time, in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can gently flutter your eyes open or maintain the inward focus and bring your feet a little about hips width apart. Knees straight up in the air. And we'll start by bringing our right foot into the air and bend your knee towards your chest and just gently make some circles with your right knee. First outward and then switch directions. Continuing nice deep breaths, warming up the hip joint. Go ahead and flex your foot as you draw your knee in closer to your chest. Imagine pressing your right hip crease down towards the ground. Relax your shoulders and your neck down towards the earth. And then extend your heel up towards the sky as you draw your toes back towards your face. Your knee can still be somewhat bent, and you should still get a pretty good stretch through the back side of the leg. And you can go as far as you need to go today. You can clasp the back of your thigh, or perhaps the back of your calf or your toes or your foot. And just gently hug that in towards your body, keeping nice active toesies. And again, drawing that right hip crease down towards the ground or towards the wall, away from your head. And go ahead and release your right foot, lower your right foot to the floor, and draw your left knee in towards your chest. And we'll go ahead and make some big circles with our left knee, circling several times to the outside, and then switching directions to circle inward. Pause, drawing your left knee in towards your chest. Flex your toes. Press your left hip crease down towards the ground and away from you, away from your head. And then slowly yawn your left heel up towards the sky. So you'll continue pressing your left hip down into the ground as your heel presses upwards towards the sky and your toes peel downward towards your face. Again, left knee can be bent. You can clasp gently hold behind your thigh or your calf or your toes or your foot, wherever you feel comfortable, but no further. Breathing nice and deep, opening up through the hips and through the back leg, through the hamstring. And then slowly lower the left foot, again, drawing knee into the chest as you press your left hip crease away from your head. And then lower both feet to the ground. Grab behind your thighs as you use your body weight to rock yourself a couple times, massaging through the spine. And then coming all the way up to a seated position. So from your seated position, we're going to start with a little bit of self-massage. So one thing we'll be working on today is a lot of opening up through the hamstring and the hips and through the back of the legs and low back. And just take your right foot or your left foot and begin to massage, especially through the arch of your foot. You have some muscles that connect from the arch of your foot all the way up through the back side of your legs that connect into your low back muscles. So tightness in your feet can lead to tightness in your low back or tightness in the back of your legs. You can take your thumbs or your knuckles and just gently or not so gently press. Just notice what you find. Maybe you find some knots, maybe you find some tenderness, maybe it feels amazing or not so amazing. Just see what you're feeling. And then we'll switch feet. So for me, I'm moving on to my left foot, giving myself a good view of the bottom of my foot if that's possible. If it's not, you can keep it out in front of you and massage. Either way, just seeing what we notice. For me, I have a lot of tension in my arches. And I like to keep something like a lacrosse ball or a foot roller under my desk so that throughout the day I can massage my feet. I get a lot of tightness in my low back and in the backs of my legs. And sometimes I can alleviate just some of that tension by massaging through the arches of my feet. Wonderful, wonderful opportunity for self-care. And when you're ready, you can release that down. So we're sitting in our comfortable seat. You can move the flesh out from under your bum or sit on the tops of your knees. And we'll begin our movement practice. So inhaling, reach up nice and long. Exhale, twist to your right, placing your right hand behind you and your left hand on your right knee. Inhale, reach up nice and long through your spine. And as you exhale, twist from the base of your spine all the way through your crown, looking over your right shoulder. Inhale, sit up nice and tall in your twist. And as you exhale, coming back to center. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, this time twist your arms, placing your right hand on your left knee, left hand lands behind you. Inhale, sit up nice and tall from root to crown. And as you exhale, twist from your lower back all the way through the crown of your head, looking over your left shoulder. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Expand through your low belly as you breathe in. And as you exhale, unwind, coming back to center. Inhale, reach it up nice and long. Exhale, drop your right hand to the floor. Reach across with the left, expanding through the left side of your body. You might lower all the way down to the floor. Just keep that left hip crease pressing down towards the ground. So fingertips reach to the right, hip crease reaches down and to the left. Inhale deep into your belly. And as you exhale, come back up to center. Inhale, reach up nice and long. Exhale, drop the hand to the left, reach with the right. Maybe continue lowering your elbow all the way to the floor. If your right hip crease wants to sneak up off the floor, then come back up a little bit higher off your left hand. So this time your right hip crease is reaching down as your left side body lengthens to the right, or excuse me, your right side body reaches to the left. Big inhale. And as you exhale, coming back up through center, we'll come up slowly to all fours, mindfully, placing our hands nice and wide on the mat, right under our shoulders, knees right under our hips. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, sit back all the way into your child's pose, allowing your forehead to come all the way to the ground. Maybe rock your hips from left to right, pressing back into your hip creases, reaching your bum towards the ground if it's not already there. Maybe rolling your forehead from right to left, massaging across your brow ridge. Slowly rolling up. Bring your hands forward a few more inches, and we'll take some nice, big, slow hip circles. So stretching through the front of the hips, around to the side, deep into your buns in the back and the sides of your hip. Really whatever feels good. So move your hips either nice and big, maybe smaller circles, maybe spend more time stretching through the front or the side or the backs of your hips. Really taking inventory of how your hips are feeling at this moment. And switch directions if you haven't already. So moving nice and slow. And then coming back, bringing our knees right under our hips and our hands right under our shoulders. And we'll move through a couple cat-cows. So inhale, lowering the navel, lifting your heart and your tailbone. And as you exhale, lift your navel as you lower your heart and your tailbone. So inhaling cow, drop the navel, lift the heart and the tailbone. Exhale, lift the navel, drop your heart and your tailbone. Do two more like that, really rounding, exploring the duration of your breath, matching your movement duration to the duration of your breath. And completing one more round. And meeting in flat back tabletop. Let's extend through the right arm, lifting the left leg. So in a nice long line, reaching through the right fingertips, reaching through the left, either heel or toe. Go ahead and check in with your navel. See if you can lift your navel to protect your low back. And then see if you can lift your left leg just a little bit higher. Inhale up. Exhale, lower everything down. This time, inhaling, left arm up, right leg back. Again, either reaching through your toe or through your heel, either way, very actively and intentionally reaching. Check in with your low belly, see if you can draw your navel up to support your low back. At the same time, inhale, lifting your left arm and your right knee up a little bit higher. Exhale, lower everything down. We'll do that again. So inhaling, left leg back, right arm out. Navel up and in. Inhale, lift your limbs a little bit higher. Exhale, lower down. Now left arm, right leg. Navel up and in. Lift your limbs a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Should be a nice burn here. Right arm out, left leg out. Navel up and in. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower down. Left arm, right leg. Navel lifts. Left arm, right leg, lift. Exhale, lower down. Great job. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Walk your hands out a couple inches forward. Lift with your navel, lift your knees up off the floor. So you're really using your abs to lift your knees up off the floor. Hover here for a moment. Big inhale. And as you exhale, lift your hip creases up and back to bring you into your first downward dog. So you can go ahead and keep your knees nice and bent. That's totally fine. You're pressing the floor away from you with your hands as your hip creases reach up and back towards the wall behind you, where the wall meets the ceiling. Take 3 big rounds of breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Heels reaching toward the earth. And on your next inhale, come up to the balls of your feet, look forward, and take some mini steps up towards the front of your mat. Go ahead and hang forward. So give your knees a nice bend. So your knees are bent, but your hips are still reaching upwards. So as much as you need to bend your knees is totally fine. We're going for length through the spine. Clasp your arms and gently sway from left to right. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. Make sure your neck is nice and loose. And we're rooting downwards through all 4 corners of the feet as we lift through our hip creases. Bend your knees nice and deep, release your arms, and go ahead and roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, all the way through standing. My headphones are dying, so I'm just going to change that. Standing at the front of the mat, feet hip width apart. We'll inhale, pushing down with all 4 corners of our feet, rising up through our crown and our fingertips. And as we exhale, hinge forward at your hips, so again, reaching upwards with your hip creases as you fold forward with your upper body. Inhale, halfway lift, so your hands can be on your upper thighs, on your shins, or on the mat, either way nice and long through the back of the neck. And as we exhale, we'll plant our hands, take all the way back through plank, and we'll hold here. So really reaching towards the back of your mat with your heels. Lift through your navel, up out through your back, length through your back of your neck. Inhale, nice and deep. And as you exhale, slowly lower all the way to the ground. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Inhale, lift up to cobra. Pin your shoulders into the sides of your body. And as you inhale again, lift your hands up off the floor so you're using just the strength of your back. Exhale, lower all the way down. Hands come to either side of your chest. Press up your half plank, plank or full plank. And then hip creases move up and backwards into downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath here. Pushing the floor away from you with your hands. Reaching down towards the earth with your heels as your hip creases reach up and back. Navel is lifted. On your next inhale, come up to the balls of your feet. This time look forward. You can take a bunch of small steps or lift your knee into your chest as you take 2 big steps to the front of your mat. Landing in your forward fold, however you got here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Hip crease reaching up towards the sky. Inhale, rise all the way up, reach up, look up, and exhale. Hands come to heart center. Reaching down through all 4 corners of your feet, allowing your tailbone to be heavy towards the floor. Inhale, reach up, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Hip creases reaching up towards the sky. Inhale, halfway lift. Along through the back. Exhale, plant your hands. Step or jump back to plank. Hold it here again, so reaching long through your heels, out through your crown, puffing up through your shoulders, between your shoulder blades. Big inhale. And as you exhale, either lower all the way down or halfway down, and then pull your heart forward into cobra or upward facing dog. And as you exhale, lift your hip creases up and back, taking you into downward facing dog. So again, 3 rounds of breath here. Big inhale, big exhale. On your next inhale, come up to the balls of your feet. This time look forward. You have many steps, 2 big steps, or bend your knees, look where you want to go, and hop to the front of your mat. Hover big here, land in your forward fold. Hip creases reaching up towards the sky as your body can steady downward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. You rise up, reach up, look up. Exhale, and coming to heart center. Inhale, raise the arms up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, you'll take your left foot up and all the way back, the back of your mat, into low lunge. So go ahead and lower your knee down to the floor. You may need to scooch your right foot just a little bit forward. You can untuck your left foot. So we're nice and long, stretching through the left hip crease. And just like we were doing before, the action of bringing our right hip crease back in space. So as you bring your right hip back into space, squeeze your heel and your knee toward one another, and use that energy to stabilize your base as you inhale, rise up. Lift your navel up and in, providing yourself stability. Exhale your shoulders down. Go ahead and lower the hands to the mat. Untuck your left toe, send your right foot back, and lower down through your flow. So either chaturanga through upper dog, or all the way down to the mat through low cobra. Everybody meeting in downward facing dog. Taking 3 rounds of breath here, lifting through the hip creases, sending the heels down to the ground as you press the floor away from you with your fingertips. Big inhale, big exhale. Inhale, rise up to the balls of your feet. Look where you want to go. Exhale, bend your knees. Just walk or step to the front of your mat. Landing in forward fold. Hip creases rising up towards the ceiling. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse one dive all the way up. Reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reaching down with all 4 corners of your feet. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Allowing your hip creases to reach up towards the sky as you drop your head. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands on the ground. Big step this time with your right foot. Knee will come up and into your chest. Huge step to the back of the mat. Lower your right knee down. Untuck your toes. And again, focusing on this left hip, let's drag our left hip crease back in space. You may need to lift your belly up and into your hip crease enough space to actually move backward in space. And as you drag your knee to your heel and your heel to your knee, you should have a nice strong foundation. Inhale, rise up. We'll stay here for a couple breaths. Inhaling the heart up. Exhaling shoulders down. Lowering hands all the way to the floor. Taking your right toe, lift your left knee, step your left foot back, and lower down through your floor. Whichever path you're taking. Everybody lifting their hip creases up and back to meet in downward facing dog. Few rounds of breath here. Navel lifting, hip creases rising, heels grounding, hands pressing down into the earth. Inhale, come up to the balls of your feet. Exhale, step, look, or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, long through the back of the neck. Exhale, forward fold, really shooting the hips upward, hip creases upward. Inhale, rise up, look up, and exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, hands come up again as we root down. Exhale, pitch forward, hip creases rise, this upper body lowers. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time we'll pick the right leg up, send it all the way back to the back of the mat. This time our right foot is angled 45 degrees. We're setting up for our warrior 2 pose. Inhale, arms come all the way up and back. So we're sitting nice and low. We're going to be here for a few rounds of breath. So extend through the arms, allow your tailbone to sink lower towards the ground. Go ahead and clasp your hands behind you. And as you do that, drag your left hip back in space for kind of turning the hips a little bit. So dragging the left hips back into space. Inhale, heart, nice and high up as you press your knuckles down into the ground. And exhale, forward fold into your humble warrior. Maybe you only go so far as having your chest above your knee, checking in to make sure your back leg, inner thigh is really engaged. Navel is lifted, left hip crease is pressing back. Maybe you move over into a deeper fold. Nice big round of breath here. And using your knuckles, press up into the sky as you come back up all the way into warrior two. Opening up the hips again. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Untuck, turn your right heel upwards and left foot back. Again, traveling through your flow, or maybe you press straight back into downward facing dog. Each their own. Either way, swing the hips up and back, hip creases up and back. 3 rounds of breath here. Let's lift the right foot up, switching sides. We'll bring our right foot into our chest, land it between our hands, lower the heel, spiral, lower the heel so your left foot's about 45 degrees, setting yourself up for warrior two legs. We'll inhale, the arms all the way up to standing. So tailbone rooting down towards the ground, shoulders relax, fingertips actively shooting out in front and behind us. Gaze over your right fingertips, getting nice and low in your warrior two. Breathing nice and deep. Setting up for humble warrior, bring your hands behind your back. Maybe switch your grip so you have, if I had my left thumb over my right thumb last time, I'll switch. Pressing my knuckles down toward the ground, I lift my chest up, heart raising. This time I'll focus on bringing my right hip crease back in space. So the action of dragging it backwards as I root down with my knuckles, right up with my chest, and then fold forward into my humble warrior. Checking in with my legs, really pressing down into the outer edge of my left foot, engaging my left inner thigh, lifting through my navel. Maybe fold forward deeper into humble warrior. Taking several rounds of breath. And then using your knuckles to press up towards the ceiling before arching back down towards the ground. Spiral the hands open and the hips open back to warrior two. Before we spiral the arms down to the ground. Step the right foot back. Either go straight into downward dog or perhaps child's pose, moving through your flow is another option. Wherever you are, child's pose, downward dog, sending the hip creases up and back. Three rounds of breath here. Inhale, come up to the balls of your feet. Look forward, step, walk, or jump to the front of your mat. Landing in your forward fold, hip creases reaching up towards the sky. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse one back all the way up. Reach up, look up. Exhale, draw your hands into heart center. Pausing here for a few breaths. Just closing the eyes. Finding stillness. And observing, taking the opportunity to observe your breath, observe your body, Observe your emotional body, so checking in on any thought patterns or emotional reactions or physical sensations. Just kind of letting everything pass and not clasping onto anything, not forcing anything in or out of your mind, just being. Big inhale through the nose. Big exhale. And you're ready, you can release. Good job. So there's a lot of hip and leg work. So let's move ourselves down to the ground. So arms out in front of us. We'll slowly lower through a squat. My legs are shaking, yours might be too. And when you can't go any lower or you need to give yourself an assist, just put your hands back and touch yourself or just flex to the ground. Wherever you're at is fine. Sit up nice and tall on your sit bones. Sometimes that helps move the flesh up from under your behind. And then sit back on your sit bones until you feel like you can lift your toes up off the ground. And so your shins are nice and parallel to the floor, or if you need to go further, you can put them straight out. And we're in a Savasana on both toes. So long through the back of the neck, shoulders clip in, navel is lifted up and in towards your spine. Big inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last time, we'll inhale. Exhale, drop the feet, reach forward and give yourself a big hug. You deserve it. Bring your hands out in front of you and then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time all the way down to the floor. Really working those abs. And when you're to the floor, bring your arms out to the side in a T or in cactus arms, whichever feels great to you. Spread your feet out so they're the distance of your mat apart, so farther than hip width. And then just windshield wiper your knees from left to right at whatever pace feels good to you. Really stretching through your hips, loosening up your lower back, massaging your glutes. Bring your knees in towards your chest and give them a nice hug. You're going to rock from left to right. Again, massaging through your hips, through your lower back. And bring your knees up so that your shins are parallel to the ground. Exhale, lowering your left or your knees down to the left as you look over your right arm. Your upper body is in a nice twist, spiraling from root of your tailbone all the way up through your crown. And just relaxing into this pose. So we have nowhere to be, class is winding down. We're stretching out and resetting our back as we go out into the rest of our day. But first we rest. Allowing the breath to kind of walk around the spiral staircase that is your spine, so really just exploring your abdomen. Your next inhale, raise your knees up through center. And as you exhale, lowering your knees down to the right as you look across your left shoulder. Shoulders always reaching, both shoulders reaching towards the ground in this shape. Notice if there's any parts of your body that are still efforting or trying to maintain a specific shape and see if you can just soften into this. Whatever it looks like for you is fine. We're going for restorative rather than effortful. Using breath, again, to explore the spiral staircase that is your spine right now. Shifting from tailbone through crown. And coming up, knees through center again. You can take a last shape if you need it, something like happy baby, where you grab the outsides of your legs or your feet or your toes, bringing your knees in towards your armpits and just gently rocking from side to side. Maybe make some silly sounds. And then slowly finding your way to Shavasana, or corpse pose, for a rest. We won't be here for long, but we will be here. Tucking your shoulder blades in together under your back, allowing your legs to splay out, perhaps putting a prop under your knees if you have low back pain in this pose, and just allowing your palms to be face up. As you melt into the floor, allowing yourself to be held by the structure underneath you. If you're finding any resistance, any lingering tension in your jaw or in your forehead or in your hips or your legs, wherever you're finding it, just send your breath to that area with your mind and ask if it can release. Different words work better for some people. You can ask different areas to melt or release or let go. You should just be held. When you're ready, slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes, waking back up, body, noticing the sensation of being a body lying on the floor. Inhale your arms up over your head as you stretch through your toes. And as you exhale, rolling over to your side, hanging out in the fetal position for a breath or two. Before you press yourself gently back up to a comfortable seated position. You can cross-legged when you're sitting on a cushion. And maintaining your inward focus, palms up on your knees or palms down or some other mudra that feels good to you. Take 3 rounds of breath together to close out class. So inhaling nice and deep through the nose into the belly. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, expanding through the torso. Exhale through the mouth. Last time, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Bring our hands and palms together at heart center. Maybe bring a soft smile to your face. Bring your thumb up to your third eye and bow your head in gratitude. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.